Greetings gamers, and welcome to another Big Fat Freebie Friday. In this video I want to review Guardians of Ember, which has recently been released as a free-to-play open beta by Gameforge. I say recently released, but this game actually has a bit of a history which I spent most of a full day researching, but from what I can see the history doesn't seem to be the fault of the developers RuneWaker or the fault of the new publishers Gameforge. I'm willing to give this game the benefit of the doubt and judge the game as it is and not colour that judgment with what a previous publisher tried to do to help promote a different game made by a different developer. So with that gentle acknowledgement that I'm aware that this game has a past, let's review this game as it stands right now. Right now, it is in open beta, which means I'm going to be slightly less critical than I would be if this game claimed to be live. However, by marketing this game as World of Warcraft meets Diablo, they're setting the bar really high, no doubt trying to pick up some of the people who are leaving Blizzard even though they do have phones. Seriously though, that's setting the bar awfully high. I sure hope RuneWaker can deliver what Gameforge are promising, because my hopes have been seriously raised here and I haven't even downloaded the game at this point. So, with that being said, let's take a look at the game. Normally at this point in a video game, I say games downloaded from official sites like Steam, Origin and Epic are usually pretty safe. But due to this game's history, the game is no longer discoverable on Steam to new players and has to be downloaded direct from the publisher. This means doing some research into the publisher before clicking the download button. I also made sure my antivirus was fully up to date and backed up all of my important documents to an offline storage medium before downloading the initial file for the game. Even after my antivirus software told me it was safe, I still did a full system virus scan before and after installing the game. I didn't find any viruses or malware, but that doesn't mean it's safe. All I can say is I haven't found any problems with malware after downloading this game. The other thing to be mindful of when downloading direct from a publisher's website is to make sure this really is the publisher's website and not a third party pretending to be the publisher, and believe me, some of those third party websites can look awfully convincing, so double check the security certificates. This should be an HTTPS protocol and should have a valid certificate. If the website starts HTTP and not HTTPS, then don't download from it. The developer's website starts HTTPS and has a valid security certificate. So far this game has only crashed on me a couple of times after playing for nearly a whole week. To be fair, this is normal for this type of game. I've seen AAA games crash. I've seen old games and new games crash. In the forums some people are complaining the game is really buggy, but I haven't seen much in the way of bugs at this moment. I don't seem to be able to jump over small fences and can't seem to reach a goblin up in a tower, even with a ranged character, but apart from that I haven't seen much in the way of bugs. I'm going to go soft on the developers with regards to bugs because it's advertised as an open beta, so we shouldn't be expecting something polished. That being said, some games these days can find themselves in permanent beta and are never out of the development stage. I strongly suspect this will turn into a pay-to-win mechanism. What makes a game pay-to-win is if things that give you a tactical advantage can't be obtained through grinding or farming and must be purchased with real money. I would like to thank Shugo for calculating what he considers the basic quality of life improvements, including 1 page bag space, 1 page house space, 1 attribute respec, 2 skill respecs, 1 loot pet and 1 mount, which comes to €74.98. Arguably we could say that the loot pet is not necessary a tactical advantage, but Let's go with Shugo's calculations. Now, I'm taking Shugo's calculations at face value, and since the costs are likely to change, it's not worth checking. But I have to say, €75 looks about right. This is about what I would expect to pay for a brand new game. Of course, if the developers are pricing the game at €75, they're in competition with the big AAA gaming companies with huge multi-million-dollar budgets. If you're going to charge a premium rate, I would expect a premium product, including mind-blowing graphics. Gameforge better not be serving me dog food and calling it beef stroganoff. Now, that being said, World of Warcraft doesn't have that brilliant graphics. Oh, who am I kidding? WoW graphics are average at best. But the cost of WoW is around £50 plus over £100 per year in subscriptions. So suddenly €75 or about £65 doesn't look all that much. I must say, the trend these days seems to be having games free to play with items that give a tactical advantage discoverable or purchasable in-game, with in-game currency that can be earned through farming or grinding, but can also be bought for real money. Real money exclusive items tend to be cosmetic. If Gameforge have any sense, they'll go down this road and please both the gamers and their investors, especially since this model has been so very successful for both Fortnite and Apex Legends. As it is, I can't say if this game will be pay to win, as it's only in beta, but I'm sad to say any gaming company, be they developers or publishers, will try to charge the most money possible while putting in the minimum work possible if the market will let them get away with it. In short, if you don't like the pay to win business model, don't support it by handing over your money. And now that's out of the way, let's jump in and play through the first part of the game. So the first thing I have to get over is my disappointment, as this game is nowhere near up to the hype. World of Warcraft meets Diablo, it ain't. Graphics and playstyle, it's not even up to the standard of Lord of the Rings Online. It lacks the massive open world feel that I've come to expect from World of Warcraft, and it lacks the fast-paced intensity I've come to expect from Diablo. Now, if we ignore the hype and try to see the game for what it is though, it's a nice little indie MMOARPG. It's not all that bad. It has what you'd expect in the form of quests, turn-ins, rewards, although I have to say in the early sections the quests and dungeons feel a little repetitive. Goblins are attacking, kill them. Goblins are attacking, kill them. Yeah. Sometimes you get a little variation on the goblins in that there are some vultures to kill, but ain't that the way with a lot of MMOs? Go here, kill mobs, turn in, get rewards. Go there, kill mobs, turn in, get rewards. What keeps a game fresh though, through all that grinding, is the gradually revealing storyline, something this game seems to be a little light on in the early levels. Actually, if you push through the grindy first 12 levels, I started to get a little more interested in the lore. An encroaching evil is passing through the lands, and has already displaced the dwarves, elves, and a race I've never heard of called the Nea, described as daughters of the forest, which makes me think there's some sort of nymph-like race. Anyway, these three races have already had their homes overrun, and are fighting alongside the humans who seem to have only one city left, a last bastion of hope, as it were. Faithful to all other games like this, experienced veterans are struggling to cope with overwhelming odds. I come in with my little practice sword or whatever piece of low-level tat I've got at level 0, no clue what I'm doing. I kill a few mobs and suddenly I'm hailed as a hero who saved the day. Really, veterans? You were fighting for your lives? I just come along, biff biff, and it's all over? Never could quite get my head around that, but it's what everyone else is doing and it's become a standard MMO trope. Turns out, when we get past the initial grind fest, which I suppose is the game's way of teaching me how to use my controls, I'm something special after all. Which explains why I so easily dispatched that which everyone else was having trouble with. Some old wizard tells me I'm something called a Guardian of Ember. Where have I heard that phrase before? Oh, it'll come to me, I'm sure. Where this game shines through, there is some pretty decent tongue-in-cheek storylines. A couple sitting on a bench, the woman says to the man, "I know what we can offer a budding young adventurer to solve our problems for us, even though we've lost everything we have. Experience." I love it. It's not long before you're thrown into your first dungeon, which is actually fairly easy and perfectly soloable. However, dungeons come with 3 levels which are unlocked upon completion of the previous level. The higher level dungeons drop better loot and the mobs are a little more challenging. After a certain amount of story quest, which I don't want to go into, spoilers and all that, you get a house. I say house, it's more of a plot of land on which you can build your house. This means you can place and orient your house any way you like. Even after putting it down, you can change your mind, which I think is pretty awesome. The house comes with extra storage and purchasable furniture, which is sure to appeal to the interior designer in all of us. Aside from a house, there's a lovely garden which we can grow as soon as we figure out where to get plant pots, seeds, soil and water, that is. All in all though, this is a pretty decent game. Shame it was so overhyped that my first impressions were so negative. Shame the publishers seem to want to go down the pay-to-win route. I do hope they change their minds about that, because this is a good little game that deserves a chance. If this game were a little more polished and not pay-to-win, I could definitely see myself sinking a few hours into it, just to see where the story goes. And that about wraps it up for this Big Fat Freebie Friday. I do hope you have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you in a future video.